Hello friends, welcome back. This is a full stack development video series and we were building the Smart Certify app, which is the online certification platform application. This is episode 5. In this video, we'll walk you through the process of creating a .NET Core 9 web API project using the clean architecture principles. We'll set up the project structure, configure the entity framework core and generate entities from the database we built in the previous episodes. So additionally, we'll also show you how to configure the Swagger alternatives in the .NET Core 9 as Swagger's default scaffold is removed. So this is perfect for anyone looking to structure their web API efficiently and learn about the latest .NET Core 9 changes. So without delay, come let's get started. Right, so I have Visual Studio 2022 community version, which is free, and before we do anything, the first thing that you need to do is go to this Visual Studio, go to help and say about Microsoft Visual Studio. This will tell you what version is installed. See, as of this recording January 2025, my version is 17.12.3. This is important because in the previous version or lower version, like say 17.2 or something, .NET Core 9 installations will not be there because .NET Core 9 got released only in the mid of November 2024. So first you upgrade this Visual Studio IDE with the latest version, whatever this version is, and then go to the Google and download .NET Core 9 SDK. I will give you the link that you need to install in the description. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Do these two things. Only then you will start seeing .NET Core 9 in your template. Okay. So I opened Visual Studio 2022. I'm going to hit on new project. And here in the template, choose C#, Linux and Cloud. And it's filter with API. The first one is what we need to choose. This is ASP.NET Core. And you select your location and name a project. I'm going to name it properly. So there are 4 projects. So we're going to start with LSC Smart Certify App API. See, this is the framework. If you have installed what I just told you, you will see this .NET 9 standard term support. And then remaining, you choose whatever is shown on the screen and click on create. So this is the first project that gets created and it looks like this. This is the web application, web API project. Now we're going to create 3 more projects. Right click, add, and here it's everything is class library. Search with library, the first one that will come as the .NET Core, and then again choose the same project. I'm going to choose the same location, change the name of the project. This time we'll name it as domain. Okay, so we're going to follow the clean architecture principle. So there are 4 layers: domain, API, infrastructure, and the application. So we'll be creating 2 more project. That's the application, again that's a library project, infrastructure is a library project, domain is a library project. The first one that we did is only web API project. So whatever you're seeing on my screen, I'm choosing the same location, naming it as a different project name, and all of those 3 last projects are library project. Okay, so the last one is pending. I click add new project. I'm going to choose library, select the first one, and then change the name. In this case, it's the last one called infrastructure. Okay, so clean architecture principle, this is how it works. I will also give you a detailed separate video that if in case you're interested to take a look, that has the unit test coverage as well, but we're gonna explain you how things works. So this is the first structure of the clean architecture structure of the web API. So we have 4 projects, right? So what we are going to do is this first project, you go to this dependency and right click and say add project dependency. See, the top layer project is the API project that actually depends on three things only for the configuration purpose, not for any other purpose. And then the application will depend on the domain, and infrastructure will depend on domain and application. Okay, where the interfaces are present. I will go through it, don't worry. Once you have this dependency configured and try to build and run the project, it should run seamlessly. Okay, there should not be any errors. If you just run it, it will start running the project like this. So click on this link that's basically running on localhost 7045. See, there is no Swagger. If I just try to type Swagger is no more with .NET 9. Curious? I will cover that concept also. Stay tuned, and at the end of the video, you'll see what are the concepts that we're going to cover. Now, this is the default controller, right? So how do you reach the controller? You just need to put the controller name, the API/controller name, but it depends on what we configured. So in this default template, there is no API. So we just need to say that localhost 44, that port number slash the controller name, that will hit the default get endpoint. Okay, we'll talk about all those get endpoints and all. Stay tuned. So now what we're going to do is, I am going to right click on this infrastructure project and install certain packages first. Okay, the first one is the entity framework core, and you can see 9 is the latest one as of this recording. So 9 is installed. This is how you install a package. This is one way of installing package. But if you already know the package, see, you double click on the project and come here. This is where you see the projects, right? See, it also shows the target framework, what are the other configuration of a particular project. In this case, it's an infrastructure project. So because I already know what packages I need, I'm going to copy paste the package. Okay, you can also do the same thing, or you can install one by one through the NuGet package. That's how generally we do. Because I already know, I just copy pasted, and I wanted to show you different stuff that you can do. You should know all of these things. Great. So now you know how to install this a bunch of packages for a given project. Now this project is done. I'm going to copy this and also keep this in couple more projects, like a domain project. If you ask me why in domain project, you will see shortly that we're gonna scaffold all the database entities into models, and for that we need this. All right, we need this only for that reason, and if not, we don't need this. Okay, now let's go to this application project, and I'm going to leave that. We don't need anything over there for the entity framework. But here you see this ASP.NET Core Open API. That's the one which Microsoft is recommending going forward for .NET Core and 9 and above. There is no Swagger anymore, but there are some good alternatives which I will be showing at the end of the video, and you will be surprised to see those kind of new stuff coming up. And stay tuned. We'll fix this, all of this Swagger stuff in a different way. Okay, now I have added a README file. Basically what you see on the screen is to install the .NET EF tool, entity framework tool. So I've given all of these instructions, what you need to do for the newcomers, for the existing one, like if you want to just upgrade the existing one, all of those things. So here's what my system looks like. Before 9 there was something called 8, so I'm going to use the commands that I gave it in that text file, and it shows what was there currently. It's there with 8.0.7. okay, I need to just upgrade it. So for that, like update it, so I use this command and it updated to 9.0, which is the latest one. Okay, now you see this 9. So this is how it also happens for you. And if you have never installed, that's okay, you can directly install this EF tool, and which will bring you the latest one, which is 9. So what I'm going to do is, if you go to this text file, you can see the scaffold database script. Basically what it says is, we're saying .NET EF DbContext scaffold. So from where this is coming, let's go and see. If I open up the terminal and let me expand this, so what we're going to do, .NET EF. If I type this, it says EF started coming, and also has these 3 different commands. So if I say .NET EF space DbContext, now it says what is there inside the DbContext. I have something called info list optimize scaffold script. This is what we are referring to. So this video is not all about in-depth tutorials of the EF core. If you require EF core in-depth tutorial, let me know. The commands and tools we can see in a separate video, but let's keep it short for this video. We are going to use one of the command, .NET EF DbContext, under that scaffold. Basically, if you enter the database connection string, it is going to talk to the database and bring up all of the database entities as the model. That's the idea. Okay, so we're going to use this. So let's go back. So .NET EF DbContext. Okay, so let me minimize this. from here, right, after scaffold, it's a database connection string. From here till here is the connection string, and then we are saying it's a Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server is the one which it is talking to, and I'm saying, hey, extract every stuff that you see in the table and put it under that folder called entities. That's the command description. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this, and let's go to this entities. Where is that? Here. Okay, so don't worry, this already got created, but basically you have to go to this location CDM and copy paste whatever you copied. Okay, so whatever you just copied there, see, I'm just expanding it so you can understand this, right? See, .NET EF DbContext scaffold, and then followed by all of this stuff. The moment I enter, what will happen? Basically it will create this entities and then all of the tables here. Okay, all of the tables will come here, and that's what this entity is. Okay, so once you have this entity scaffold, basically there is a file called smart certify context. Okay, so this file, right, it was here. What I did is I just cut this from here, I moved it to the infrastructure and then deleted from here. Okay, I deleted this. So here is the actual file that I moved. When I moved, I should also change the namespace here, right? The namespace is lsc.smartcertify.infrastructure. So the namespace is changed, and this is what it looks like. When you do that, there will be an error stating that the $7 is not there. You just need to bring up this namespace. Okay, so if this namespace is not there, it will be like this. When you move, so control period will ask you to bring the namespace, and we brought the namespace. Basically we are referring, this project is referencing this, right? So as soon as you bring this namespace, all of these things will come. So let's understand this, right? This is the default constructor. This is a parameterized constructor, which basically in order for this DbContext to work, right, see, any class that inherits DbContext which is coming from entity framework, then this becomes a DbContext because it is inheriting that. Okay, now in order for DbContext to work, it needs to know what is the connection string. So when we say DbContext option, and then we pass the option from the Program.cs, which we will do it shortly. When you do that, the connection string is passed here all the way through here. Base means basically the connection string here is also passed to the inheriting class, which is, that's why I say base. Base means this one. It's referring to this one. So the class gets initialized, like instantiated, and then what you need to understand here is every single table of the database will become a DB set of the table name. Okay, and it all virtual, right? So it says virtual DB set of the table name, and you can closely look, all of these stuffs are nothing but the tables. Okay, and if you go inside this table by F12, which will take you to those entities, of course these entities will have all the definitions like keys, what is the maximum length, and who's the foreign key, all of those things. And interesting part is, like this, all of this table is defined, right? And if you go further, scroll down, there's something called on model creating. Don't touch anything, this is all generated code. Okay, this basically whatever is generated is nothing but the schema that we defined in SQL. Okay, in the previous video we defined the SQL database schema, right? Based on that only it is configured here. One more thing that you need to understand when you're doing looking at this here is, there'll be another class that will have the connection string created. Just delete that. We should never hard code any connection string here. Instead of that only, we added this so that we can pass the option. So when you do it, just refer this code in the GitHub, you'll know the difference. Okay, now after that, let's understand a few more things. If you look at this structure, right, go to the app settings.json. App settings.json is a common settings. Okay, which means if you write something here, like for example, let's say this is here, right? So this is applicable for all types of environment. And if you add more settings JSON, for example, app settings.development.json, app settings.production.json, this after app settings, whatever the name is coming, right, that is called another environment. So we have production, we have development. So see, there is no connection string here. Instead, we have something called connection string that is added here. Okay, this connection string is nothing but a SQL connection string. It has the server name, it has the database name, and that's it. Okay, it's talking to the local database. But if you look at this production, there's no connection string, because when we go to web deployment, we'll be putting this connection string in the Azure app servers. Okay, that's why nobody in the company will do it. Everything is protected. Development people, developers will develop. That's why they need it. Okay, this talks to the development database. Now, how do I know what environment is running? If you go and search for environment, you will see like this. Click on environment, and generally, right, when you deploy to the servers like Windows servers and all, there's an environment called ASP.NET environment. That name will be here. Here it is not there because I have not added. We don't need to add it, but basically for your understanding, it will be here. Okay, let me show you what I meant. If you go to launch settings, there's something called ASP.NET Core environment. That environment, this exact name and the value is defined in this environment variable in the servers. Like servers means if a company is deploying to Rackspace or Azure, AWS, wherever it is, this will be there. So based on what name here, when you run this application, it knows which one to pick up. Here it's development, so it will pick up this and this combination of these two merging. If I change this to production, copy, and if I run this, why 2 times? You see this HTTP. HTTP means this will take. HTTPS means which is ticked here, right? This will take. So this is the two localhost URL that is running when you run the project. So if you run this is what it is going to take, but we don't have DbContext, right? But you should know how that is working. Let's revert this. Okay, now you know how this is getting picked up. Okay, so that's how it picks up. Now the next thing is we need to configure the database to start with. So if you go to this Program.cs, okay, if you go to this Program.cs, all what you have to do is you need to come and see what it is. See, I have already named it like this. Basically, there is something called okay, this one is okay. So you see this builder stuff, all of these things till you go here, it's called service configuration. Anything after that, okay, anything after that that starts with the builder.build and app, everything is called middlewares. Middlewares will talk, but basically middleware is the pipeline where the request goes through that and comes through that. Okay, so in order to make the database work, what we have to do is we need to configure builder.service.add DbContext. We will name our DbContext and then we pass the option. When we pass the option, we are saying option.use SQL Server. It could be something else. If it is Cosmos DB or something else, this will be changing. So we are using SQL Server because SQL Server is coming from this entity framework, and we are saying, hey, pick up the connection string named DbContext, which is here. Connection string under the DbContext, right? So it says builder.configuration.get connection string. Means it will directly go and look for the section under the connection string. Okay, it takes the value, it uses that value as the connection string, and then it loads the database. It connects to the database. This option is basically if it fails for the first time when the app boots, it will retry, and it's very important, and you will see why it is important as we talk about SQL Server database with respect to the Azure. Okay, so once you're done with this, and then what we are going to do is we are going to go here. Let's bring up the namespace. Okay, so here what you're going to do is we are going to simply checking, right? We are going to inject the database like this. Okay, so all what you do is go to the constructor, say smart certify context, and inject this. Okay, once you inject this, you'll have this code, and I'm going to comment this and say that dbcontext.table.toList, get everything, and then send that. So if you run this, we will just know if database's connection is correct. If database connection is wrong, this process will fail. If this process fails, you know for sure your connection or your connectivity is not correct. You probably have incorrect DbContext SQL connection string, which is mentioned here. Okay, so once you have this, let's say, look at this, I run this, and then I say weather forecast. See, it's coming here. So what happened? Microsoft actually removed the Swagger from their documentation, which means we no longer have Swagger on our web API to deal with the testing, right? So let's understand one more thing. So by default, what do we have? Open API. So in order to access that, if you say this endpoint / open API / v1.json, it will bring you whatever details, right? It'll be like this. So based on that, actually what is the response possible, what is the input, but this is not user friendly, right? So I have a couple of alternates to the Swagger, and I'm going to show one by one how beautiful it is, and let me know in the comment section which one you prefer. Okay, I'm going to keep both of the stuff in the project, so that I would like to hear from you what you like. So the first thing is, you're going to install something called scalar.asp.net core. So right click on the project. Let's bring up the project. Right click on the project and go to manage new code package, and go to this browse, go and say scalar.asp.net core. You see this? And I'm going to install this. Okay, so once it is installed, go to this program.cs, and what you're going to do is you're going to just add one more to this. So if you go to this middleware where we are saying app.map open API, after that we will also add the scalar. So the moment you add scalar, see this reference is added. Okay, we are saying what theme it is, and what kind of with sidebar and all of those things. We can play around this, like a blue planet. I don't know what is this. We have so many stuff. Okay, we have Saturn. Okay, let's see how Saturn looks. So I'm gonna run this, and before I forget, I think one thing a lot of developers are forgetting is the current development environment. The current environment that the code runs on your Visual Studio is the development environment. So whenever it is a development, it is okay to show Swagger. If not, we don't want to show Swagger. So when you deploy this code to Azure, this will be false. So obviously you will not see this. In case you want to see that, you have to configure this in a different way. Let's say comment this out so it's always shown, but ideally speaking, in a real world they won't expose this kind of a Swagger. That's why the code is like this, but it's okay. So I'm gonna run this now and see how the scalar looks like. Alright, so after you install the scalar, you open up this port where it is running /scalar/v1. Now it will load the Swagger related thing, where you can see what is the servers, what are the endpoints. You can actually test this request like this, and then you can send it. It comes here. It will give you some data here. See, so this is how the scalar works, and this is a particular theme. If we change this theme to something else, like solarized, I have no idea, blue planet, deep space. Okay, let's say deep space and then say true. Let's run this and see. So you can change the different themes and let me know which looks good. I haven't tried everything. I would expect I would like to hear from you guys, so let me know which theme is good. So I'm gonna refresh this. Okay, so theme got into space. I can see some stars, but side nav. Oh, side nav is good. So I can see all of the endpoints in the side nav. It's good. All right, so now let's quickly install the other one. The other one is called nswag.asp.net core. Okay, so I'm going to stop this for a second and open up this. Right click, say add new package. I'm going to say nswag.asp.net core. I'm going to install this. See, it's the open API Swagger. Okay, so let's say accept, and then after it got installs, you need to do one more thing. Okay, all what you have to do is, let's go to this program.cs. Again, I'm not going to remove any of these things. I'm going to add one more, add Swagger, and then this is referencing the actual open API endpoint. So now if I run this, what will happen? Again, it will take us here, and then here what we say, Swagger. See, it actually brings us the Swagger kind of feeling, and where it's referencing internally to this documentation. So I can try this out. I can actually test this. So I can run this. I can test this. I can see some data. Great. Looks good. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and in this video we have covered at least the basics of what kind of architecture we are going to do, and then how the initial setup will look like. You brought up the database entities into models, and then we also configured the Swagger endpoint. Alright, so all of these things is possible, and then in the next upcoming video we will see how the git basic commands works. Because we have to protect this code, we need to push this to the Azure DevOps. So we are going to take a look at the Azure DevOps and see how this code can be pushed to a repository. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel and hit that like button and share this with your friends. Stay tuned, and we're going to build an exciting platform application, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!